My name is Liz Gabert, and my story begins in the Baptist Bible Belt of West Texas. I married a Catholic man, and together we raised 3 children internationally. Through my travels and experiences, my Jewish faith became secondary to everyday life. Now, after some incredibly powerful events that transpired recently, I'm at a place and time in my life to delve into my Jewish faith. I invite you to join me on this journey where I and an amazing array of weekly guests will enlighten you about the faith, people, and innovations that have shaped Israel and the Jewish people's rich history. Welcome to A Journey to Milk and Honey.
Welcome to A Journey to Milk and Honey. Thank you all for joining me today. Coming up, part 2 of our conversation with Dave Silverman, a native Bostonian who left decades ago to build a life in Israel. Today, we continue Dave's story backtracking to October 7th, 2023, a day which has faded from the hearts, minds, and memories of so many, including the world headlines. As a reminder, that was the morning that thousands of barbarians, known as Hamas, as well as hundreds of Gazan civilians, invaded Israel, slaughtering over 1,200 people and kidnapping 251 hostages. And as a second reminder, now, after 1 year and 8 months, or 600 days ago, 58 of those hostages are still rotting in the concentration camp-like death tunnels in Gaza, more than half whom are dead. But I digress. In today's episode, Dave shares how that day unfolded for him and his family. We talk a bit about the ensuing war, Israel's campaign in Gaza, the attacks from Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Palestinian Authority, and Iran, and what it means to live under constant existential threat. And Dave and I talk a bit about what we, the Jewish people, are so familiar with, which is the Jew hatred, which has spilled over into our neck of the woods, from college campuses to the streets of Washington, D.C., where on May 21st, 2 young Israeli diplomats were murdered. This isn't just an Israeli crisis, it's a global Jewish crisis. Dave's story matters because it's not just history. It's happening now. So hold tight, and I'll be right back with Dave Silverman. Hey there, just a quick reminder before we get started that if you want to connect with us, you can find our website at journeytomilkandhoney.com or jmhpodcast.com. And you can find us on YouTube at JMH Podcast or A Journey to Milk and Honey. You can also find us on Facebook at Journey to Milk and Honey. You can find us on all other major social media platforms at JMH Podcast. And if you enjoy what we do here at A Journey to Milk and Honey, you can help support us by liking, subscribing, and leaving us comments and reviews wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you for joining me. Good afternoon, good evening, Dave. How are you today?
Well, I'm doing okay. It's nighttime, very hot.
Yes, difficult times. It sure is. In Israel, it's evening there, and I want to thank you again for joining me. I appreciate it a bunch. Okay, let's get started. We're part 2 of Dave Silverman, and we're going to begin today with October 7th. Part 1, we talked all the way about you, your life, your family, all the way up until October 7th, 2023. And today, we're going to continue from that point forward. So, Dave, let me ask you, where were you on October 7th, 2023, when the Hamas attack happened, and how did you first hear about it?
Well, first of all, as we all know, it was on a Saturday, on a Sabbath. It was also one of our highest holidays, Simchat Torah. Yeah. And it was 6:30 in the morning. I wasn't even awake. I was lying in bed. My bedroom windows wide open. My bedroom window faces south. So anything happens down south, we hear in our bedroom, right there in our room.
Let me jump in real quick, Dave. So we know the shape generally of Israel. What are you, in the north, central, or south? Where are you?
It's just southeast of Jerusalem. We're in the foothills of Jerusalem, but southern.
All right.
I hear booms from Gaza. I'm very sensitive. Once again, it was 6:30 in the morning. There were a lot of booms, very loud booms, and they were like rapid, nonstop. So I had a house full of people. All my children were home with my son with his spouse, and we had friends, we had cousins here. We had a full house. about 18 of us here for the holiday weekend. And with my experience, I know that when you hear booms like that, you don't take any chances. You have to wake up. I went from bedroom to bedroom, knocked on everyone's doors, and from the kids who were up all night long late. And you guys get out of bed. Why, Dad? Just get out of bed and come down to the living room now. Why? What? You hear those booms? Please come downstairs now, all of you. I had to force out of bed. So here we are, at a living room full of kids, all angry. Why wake this up? Did you hear those booms? Something's happening here. Then, sure enough, the sirens went off. Everyone going to our bomb shelter, which I actually cleaned just for the holiday. Who knows? They never know. Might be trouble this weekend. Let's make sure the bomb shelter's cleaned out. So I told my wife and I cleaned the whole bomb shelter, all the boxes and supplies and laundry baskets and so forth. And we all fit into that. We actually fit into the shelter. We all stood there.
How many of you? How many of you? How many?
18 of us.
18. Okay. So how long were you down there?
It's about 10 minutes. You have to wait about 10 minutes for the sirens to stop. Then the boom stopped because the rockets stopped after they started attacking. They came across the border. So, of course, if you know it's the Sabbath, I put my phone on. It's emergency. Put my phone on, heard the news right away. And they started telling us how the missiles were shot from down south. And there'd be reports of some people coming across the borders in various areas. But they didn't know how bad it was. We were very confused. We had no idea what was going on. No one did. The top brass didn't know. The news didn't know. Then as the hours went on, it got heavier and reports of murders, people being shot in their cars. We're driving on the road down there, and people seen being raided and being broken into, as we all know from the news.
So Dave, so the morning progress, and you're glued, I can imagine, to the TV, to whatever you listen to, social media. And so you're listening and watching all this and develop. And at what point for you all, because I know it took days here for us to really understand the full extent of this attack. At what point did you begin hearing and understanding that this was just horrific?
From my main source became my son. I've got 3 sons in the Army. One son is in Special Forces. I can't tell you which ones. He actually called right away. He said, "Dad, I was at a wedding party last night. My phone just rang at 6:30 in the morning. I'm going down to Gaza. There's something very bad happening. My whole team is with me, gearing up and going down to Gaza."
What time of day did he call you?
7:15. Oh, after we came out of the bomb shelter, we all sat down. The kids didn't really care. Kids started making coffee and making breakfast. Because no one really knew. There's no TV on or anything. It's just me and my phone. Then my phone rang. It's my son. Well, he said, Dad, something very terrible is happening. I can't tell you what right now. My team is gearing up. We're going down to Gaza. And then the next couple of hours went by. We didn't hear from him. About 4 or 5 hours later, a phone call. He said, "Dad, I can't tell you what I'm looking at right now, what I'm doing, what I'm seeing right now. Because it's horrific. It's a nightmare. And it's really bad. But all I can tell you is that I'm helping picking up dead bodies and corpses that have been burned and butchered and putting them into trucks to ship them off to the hospitals and to be identified on helicopters and so forth." I go, "What am I hearing here?" And then his phone went dead. He said, "I can't talk anymore. I gotta go. Bye." Boom.
And then when did you hear from him again?
About 2 days later.
Oh.
We're going into Gaza. We're all getting up now. We've helped clean up some of the kibbutzim down here. There's a lot more to do. We're mopping up the terrorists that are remaining. And even 2 days later, there's still terrorists running around down there in various towns. So he was chasing them, and then he's gearing up to go into Gaza. Oh my God, you're going into Gaza? That was just too much for you. It was just too much.
I can't even imagine. So
nobody was there.
Yeah. And so, Dave, did your family know some of the victims directly or indirectly, personally?
The second day, we got news from the family across the street from us, very close friends of ours. The woman over there, very close friends, very best girlfriends. And their son, one of his sons, were killed. And they couldn't find him. So his brother, who's also in the Army, went down there to help find his brother's body, and actually found his body.
Where did they find him?
One of the kibbutzes down there. It was Faza, inside of the road. It's happened place between the Golani soldiers, Duvdevan soldiers, and the terrorists.
And you said there were
Then
others on your street as well?
some Ethiopian boys that we know from went to school with my son, they were killed in the initial attack on Garden Key, which is it was a period of 10 days, like five boys in my neighborhood were killed.
Were they IDF soldiers?
They were soldiers, Kalani, Kapia, and Nahal soldiers, they're all named various branches.
Okay.
Yeah, there were funerals, like one day after the other, another funeral. Then friends of ours in Jerusalem lost their son. And then just one after the other. Just for a while, we were going to funerals and going to what they call Shiva calls, when you visit the home where the death occurred in the Jewish 7-day period.
Right.
So we were going there, we were going to those all the time. There been more news reporting. For weeks and weeks, it was like so-and-so was killed. Or so-and-so had a friend, his friend was killed. And so, very small countries, we're all connected. One of the hostages that was killed in Hirsch. And his mother was quite famous. She's an American. I was working. She was a client of mine for many years. She was a very well-known manageress and MC at a really popular steak restaurant. Everyone knew her.
Yeah.
She was so sweet, man. Now, I see her in the news now. She was very pro-free hostages. She's like a skeleton. Her soul's just gone. It's just gone. I can get it again. Look at her face. I can't believe the same person. Just killed the woman I used to know. So that hit home, and they killed Hirsch.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you, Dave, how has this attack changed daily life for you and your family? Or has it?
Well, all families in Israel, it changes your daily life. First of all, you work on in that jet lag all the time. You watch the news all the time.
Okay.
You're hearing booms all the time. Every time Yemen shoots a missile at us, the Houthis, it's usually at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning or 6 in the morning or just before you go to bed. So it keeps you on edge all the time. You up in bed, you think to yourself, are my clothes ready to put on? The fireman, put my clothes from bed, with my clothes, run down to the shelter. Or you take a bath, and sitting in the bath saying, shall we taking a bath now? What if the siren goes off? And
These sirens that go off for you, how frequently and where are they coming from?
first half of the war, we were coming from Gaza.
Okay.
Yemen joined like a few months later. Gaza missiles, which is only 60 miles from my house. So when they shoot at Jerusalem, the sirens go off all the time. Many times they knew they were going heading towards Jerusalem. We did actually hear the missile flying over our heads, over our house. And there's a very loud whistle. Then they shoot down, and then they'll shoot down over a forest before it reaches Jerusalem, or they know the computer knows it's going into an open area. So it keeps you on edge all the time.
Here's this.
In psychological warfare.
Absolutely
So
imaginable.
you make plans accordingly. You don't go on picnics anymore. You don't go to the beach as much. And if you go to the beach, you want to look from the local municipality. Where's your fallout shelter? You like to leave the beach. You go to weddings, and the rabbi announces before the wedding starts where the local fallout shelter is in case you get a siren during the wedding, during the ceremony. Same thing there in the nightclub before a band goes on stage. They say everybody should know that if the siren goes off while we're performing, go to the left, go to the right, downstairs. It's amazing. I don't know, changed your whole life.
It's just,
You can't imagine.
no, it's unimaginable. And I appreciate you sharing this because people need to understand it. You're an adult. I cannot even fathom what this does to the children, Israeli children.
Like the youth is installed. The whole generation is growing up now, high school kids now, and then going into the army. Really feel sorry for them. But my generation has let them down. And then I got down. We were just too complacent. We thought everything was fine. We were a strong army, high tech, anti-missile systems. But who would ever think that they'd come across our border with bulldozers? I mean, it's unimaginable. This totally threw us off. I really feel my generation has ruined this generation's future for the short term, at least.
And you just hit upon what I was going to ask you next, Dave, is what do you think happened? We think of Israel, anybody that pays attention, Israel intelligence, the level of military might, and certainly the intelligence. What's your opinion? I don't know if we've gotten the answer to that yet, but how did this happen?
It happened because we sat back, like I said, we were very complacent. We sat back on our fat asses, very affluent asses. Sorry, I was using that word.
That's okay.
We sat back thinking that all our high tech, that this wall that we built between us and Gaza, was so high tech. We had sensors under the ground that would detect them digging tunnels towards us. So they couldn't dig tunnels under the border. We had all kinds of early warning systems. We had cameras. We had radar. We had sonar. But all those things that were sitting on towers, they were all exposed. You see, from Gaza side, you could look through binoculars. There's a tower with all the high tech stuff right there. Just take the whole tower, and then they're blind. It's exactly what they did. Low tech knocking down high tech. Exactly what they did. And they were very smart. What they did 2 weeks leading up to the attack, coming to our border every day and throwing Molotov cocktails at us and shooting at us and throwing grenades at us. And so all of a sudden, Hamas said, we're prepared to stop shooting. Just allow 10,000 workers back into Israel so they make a living. And we'll stop shooting at you. So once we heard that, we moved 2 brigades from Gaza up to the West Bank, where the West Bank was heating up. And Hamas knew that we would do that. So actually, the only people that were left on the border were these girls sitting at computers, a few tanks here and there. Not a major force for a major invasion. They knew exactly how we would react. So they're very smart that way, very shrewd and very smart. They blinded us. It was the first thing to do. They blinded us. Like taking our towers down, all our high-tech radar and sonar. Then they attacked the bases themselves, where the girls were sitting at computers. And these poor girls sitting in front of computers, they were screaming out. They lost their cell phone coverage. They lost all the communication with their officers. And the few that got through to the officers would wake up every morning and say, "No, we'll be okay. The Hamas is just playing games. Don't worry about it." So I feel a lot of mistakes, one mistake after the other. And like always, Israel always learns from our catastrophes. We always learn.
Do you think this was more of a military mistake from the military perspective, or do you think it was the government or a combination of folks at fault here?
It's a combination of 3 things. The combination of the political, secret service, and military, all combined. It was a perfect storm for Hamas. I don't know if you recall, during those months leading up to the war, this country was divided in half. We're having demonstrations every night. Judicial reform. They're trying to control the government through the judicial, and the Haredim is his backup. Made a brief statement. So we were already torn in half. The whole country was divided. With Hamas was living off that. They loved that. They attacked us while we were divided.
Yeah, then like you said, it seemed to be just a perfect storm. Do you think the country, powers that be, have learned something here?
Big time. I really do. Big time.
Okay.
We'll never sit back like that again, ever. I think ever again. Like I said, Israel has always learned from the catastrophes. And we've always gained a lot of knowledge from our catastrophes, and we get smarter.
Okay.
But the enemies, now we with the enemies, are the same. They're also re-gearing, watching us, how we react, and then making their own plans. But we can't sit back and just think they're these primitive guys riding around in the white trucks and machine guns. They're very smart.
Yeah. Now, let me just ask you a little bit about the hostage crisis, the situation there, and just ask you about your thoughts about that. And we're at some 58 hostages, some dead, some still alive, and just your overall perspective and thoughts about that part of this mess.
I, like many other people that I know, very torn. I always say that if my child was one of the hostages, I also would be out there every Saturday night demonstrating in Tel Aviv. I'd be living in that square where it's called Hostage Square now. Has its own name. Demonstrating, screaming at Bibi and screaming at the government, and free my son first. But on the other hand, I've got boys in the army who are fighting, 3 boys. And I'm from the other side of the coin, where my thought is, it's very sad that hostages are taken. But we can't have a ceasefire now, and let Hamas is strong, and so my boys may get killed fighting Hamas in the near future, because we let our guard down, gave them a ceasefire to rebuild, to regroup and rearm, for the sake of letting our hostages go. Because all their terms are ceasefire, withdrawal from Gaza altogether. It's like going back to the drawing board, which means the 900 plus boys have been killed so far. They were killed in vain. So the country's really torn in half by people like me and people who are involved with the hostages, who have family members who are hostages, and they have friends that are hostages. I totally understand them. But we're torn. I think it was a very tough decision for Bibi to make. To go, people on my side, we were saying, attack until Hamas waves a white flag. Because wave them to release our hostages will take years. So for the next 9 hostages, we want 2 months ceasefire. For another 5, we want another half a year. We want complete withdrawal. We want access to our tunnels and FIAS, what you call them, Rafah. I mean, it's just terrible. They want. They're not agreeing. We're not agreeing. So we had to make a very tough decision. Let's go back in there fighting full force.
Which is what they're doing today. And just hindsight, we always look back. What mistakes were made in terms of strategy, do you think, over the last year and a half relative to Gaza, Hamas?
Yeah. My opinion is the reason the war is drawn out so long, like it is right now, is the main reason is because they're hostages. We're working grenade shells down there. We just can't carpet bomb. If there were no hostages involved, with all those murders, the massacre we had in October 7th, no one was taking hostage, we'd roll in our tanks, we'd flat the place, which any country would. And we would just carpet bomb and bomb all the tunnels with all our bunker busters and finish it up in a couple of weeks. But the fact they had a hostage, there were certain tunnels we couldn't bomb. There were certain parts of town we couldn't bomb. Then we started finding out they were hiding under hospitals. We had to bomb hospitals and deal with the media. And that's still going on. Hamas using hospitals and schools and churches and mosques and so forth for their tunnel in the headquarters. It's really slowed things down. Whenever we attack, the whole world jumps down our throat. They don't know what we know. They don't see what we see. And if a mosque is full of tunnels and a hospital is full of tunnels, it's going to be taken out, period. That's why it's drawn out so long. We don't want to kill our own hostages.
Exactly. And the propaganda out there, the lies are immense relative to Israel. So what is the general feeling, in your opinion, by the Israeli public about the pressure and really the hate around the world of Israel?
Yeah. As far as the hate is concerned, Jews are very used to being hated. Low level, now it's on a very high level, it's on a high boil right now. Because what's going on? This is all part of Iran's strategy. Iran knew that by taking hostages and drawing this out like they are drawing it out, would go on for months and months and months, and the world's like, watch the news every night, slanted news against Israel in the Western media, to the point where countries like France now, the France and Canada, and England, and Spain, and Malta, are all coming out saying, let's do a trade embargo against Israel, let's have sanctions against Israel. These are all decent democratic countries. This is all part of Islam affecting these Western countries by money being for bribes, by threats, and by sheer demographics, where the countries are becoming very full of Muslims now, where politicians have to watch out for their constituents and please their constituents, or maybe even be assassinated. Who knows? Be bribed, and that's why these decent countries are now turning on Israel. But if you read the Bible, there are sections that say that all the nations will turn against Israel one day. And I guess it's coming true.
It sure looks like it, doesn't it? And yeah,
we are such a decent democracy here, with loving sense of morals, family oriented. We contribute so much to finance, entertainment, and medicine research. We give the world so much back. Yet the people have hating us. Sad.
It is very sad. It is very sad. So, in general, to bring it forward, do you feel that the strategy, I forget the name of the mission that's going on right now?
Well, the Gideon's chariots.
Yes. Do you think that we will see some progress with this mission?
I think so. Hamas said today that Israel's now controlling 77% of Gaza, so that's a good sign. Before this latest offense 9 days ago, we only had 40% of Gaza. But then again, you can't trust Hamas anyways. I still think there's pointing tunnels we're going to find and destroy. But I think, yes, we stay full force, we'll be okay with this full force offensive. It's draining us, manpower-wise. My son was spending months in Gaza. Now, my oldest son is now had to leave his studies. He's studying physics, trying to get a degree in physics. All his exams now are on hold. He's a 14-month-old baby at home. His wife goes into the reserves as well. She's got a special job. It's so draining that everyone's either being fired or they're losing their business or they're going broke. It's a real drain. And to make it worse, a large section of our country, the Hasidim, the Haredi Jews, the one with the black long curls and the black heads,
Yep.
their boys are not going into the army. They've been told to draft them because a segment of society is so strong in our government, they're fighting it all the time. They're saying their boys shouldn't have to go. And I say, we're in the Bible, does it say in the Bible, we went and fought our enemy, but there were a certain bunch of boys that sat down and studied.
I don't know much, Dave. You know a lot more about our Bible probably than I do, but I'm learning. But nowhere so far in the year of learning have I heard such a thing that, and God doesn't expect that. God expects everyone, all men certainly, to fight.
Yeah, fight the enemy, out to wipe you out.
Yeah.
We had they're not going in. Huge segment of us is outside, a large part of our population. The valley across my house it's all Haredi, it's all them. A huge portion of my town is them, the Haredi Jews. And they should, their boys like my boys should all go into the army. Yeah. They left their way of life, so they'll help us protect it. Why should my boys put their lives on the line for them? They're not going into the army. So it's also a major problem right now. But to get back to the original point, I think we have to go on full force and not stop. We cannot leave Hamas in power, period.
Absolutely.
We leave Hamas in power and they go back to the tunnels, and Egypt goes back to smuggling arms through the tunnels. They go back to square one within 3 years.
Yeah. Let's see. Good way to begin wrapping this up, I think. Let me first ask you this before I do a final wrap with you. You are a Bostonian originally. You've been in Israel for around 50 years now. And you're an American, Israeli, or whichever way it goes. I don't know which way, Israeli, American. What are your thoughts about how the administration today is working much differently than the last administration relative to this war? What are your general thoughts about how President Trump is handling things right now?
They came right in on his big white horse, carrying a big stick. They all had a lot of hope over here. We had a lot of hope. And we still do. It's very possible what we're seeing is all smoke screen. But right now, it's a bit disappointed and so slowed down. It came right in so fast, the power of a big stick. And now he's offering carrots. Iran should not be talked to. Iran is so obviously destroying this region. Israel's always been the canary in the cage in the mine. And I'm hoping that things will change quickly. Trump came over here and signed a $2.2 trillion deal with the Arabs. It's not all for free. That money's going to America, to be invested in America. Jobs will be created. People will be happy with Trump. But money coming from Islam. It's going to have influence everywhere. Just Qatar's money was influencing all the riots on campuses. So they're sneaking in every way. But
so you're unsure. You just probably the population is just shaking their head at this right now, going because we don't know, right? We don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
This is one thing. He's not saying stop. I'm going to tell you one. He's letting us do what we need to do to a certain degree. He knows what's going on. People in this administration know what's going on. And
it's unnerving what he is doing right now on so many levels relative to the Middle East, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And we have to hope and pray that much good comes out of it because we can't control it, that's for sure. But we better just hope and pray good things for America, good things for Israel, and for the entire Middle East come out of this.
See, what he's basically doing, he's basically forcing Israel to act on our own first with Iran. We have no choice. This is our existence on the line there. So by letting us act first, Trump can turn around to America and say, hey, I just started the wars there. Israel started it. But they're our friend, we have to help them now. So this way he can get his policies taken care of. Israel's initiating, but saying, I didn't start this war, Israel did. Which made no sense.
All right. Let's move forward to more recent history. You've been living under a rock if you don't know what happened just a couple of days ago to this gorgeous couple murdered in front of a Jewish history museum in Washington, D.C. They were both embassy employees, as I understand it. But you have something you'd like to share about that as well, yes?
The woman who was killed, she was one of the administrators of the group. It's called Tech 2 Peace. TECH, numeral 2, peace. Tech 2 Peace. And my son belongs to that group.
And what does the group do?
It's a group of Palestinians and Israelis that work together in a town called Eurocom down south. They meet with their laptops. They spend a whole weekend together, a whole week together sometimes. These young Palestinians, young Israelis, bright, high-tech types that solving problems for high-tech companies. And by doing that, they're working together. It's proud they present projects together. My son has made new Palestinian friends through that group. They've been to my house for a barbecue. Very nice people. And he was actually won an award. He was invited to speak in Geneva on behalf of that group, my son. So this is the woman who this guy Rodriguez killed. He killed her. If you cannot be more pro-existence for Palestine, a member of society than that woman herself. The woman of the top ones pushing coexistence in Israel.
Unbelievable. Just tragic. Absolutely tragic. So that's heartbreaking. So I think it boils down to, Jew hatred.
Yeah, by the unenlightened part of society, uneducated, being lied to, being brainwashed. They have no idea who all the players are involved there.
I want to thank you again, Dave, for joining me. Always so much great information. My heart and my prayers are with you, with Israel, with the Jewish people, that we come out of, and we will. We will. We always do. We come out of this stronger and smarter for sure. Because it's a very sad situation over the last year and a half for sure.
The situation really needs people like you and me to get the truth out all the time, to get the true facts out, reality, real life stories. It's so important. PR is so important.
It really is. And I thank you so much for jumping in again with me. Y'all stay safe. Stay safe, and just hope and pray this comes to an end sooner rather than later. And your sons can move on with their lives, and not just your sons, tens of thousands of young people there in Israel.
Their lives are on hold.
Yeah, but something to be proud of as well. And this will go on for eternity. It just seems like that is the way of the Jewish people. But we are here, aren't we?
We're still here. We're still here.
And we will be, always. So as we can wrap it up by saying, Am Yisrael Chai. I didn't say that. You say it better.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Okay. You've got that. And I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Get some rest. And I will talk to you soon, okay?
Great.
All right. Take care.
You too.
So this conversation with Dave Silverman isn't easy, but it's necessary. October 7th was the bloodiest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Hamas's barbaric massacre of over 1,200 men, women, and children, and the kidnapping of 251 more, 58 who still remain in Gaza, wasn't just a terrorist act. It was an attack on the very existence of the Jewish people in their homeland and beyond. Dave has spent nearly 50 years in Israel. He's lived through wars, peace accords, intifadas, and moments of great hope, but nothing compares to what happened on October 7th, 2023. And yet, Dave speaks with clarity and compassion. He's not just recounting events, he's helping us understand what it means to survive something that is devastating and ongoing. And the Jew hatred has been spreading like wildfire since October 7th, not just online, but on our own streets, our college campuses, and on our doorsteps. Dave and I spoke about the young Israeli diplomats murdered on the streets of our very own capital in Washington, D.C. just 2 weeks ago. And just last weekend, 12 Jews in Boulder, Colorado were firebombed as they peacefully walked in protest against the 58 remaining hostages who are being tortured in the underground tunnels of Gaza. This firebombing was a brutal act of terrorism by a radicalized, illegal alien from Egypt. Let that sink in. 2 planned, Jew hate fueled terrorist attacks in the last week on the streets of America. Dave's voice, like so many others in Israel, carries grief, but also determination. If you take one thing away from today's episode, let it be this: complacency is complicity, and silence is dangerous. And the time to speak out in support of truth is now. Before we go, we're closing this episode with 2 video clips that Dave recorded on his phone in just the last 2 weeks. In both, you'll hear the chilling sound of missile sirens, Israel's early warning system, as Hamas rockets approach. You'll watch as Dave and his family sprint to their bomb shelter. This has been their reality, not just for weeks or months, but for decades, as Iran and their barbarian puppets launch missiles into Israel. Imagine that. Sirens, fear, scrambling for safety, whether it's every day, every week, or every month. This is what the people of Israel are living through. Thank you all for joining me today. And to Dave and Tamar Silverman, thank you both for taking the time to chat with me. And to all of the people of Israel, thank you for your strength, your courage, and for your resilience as you stand strong for the civilized world. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and shalom.
Yo, get in the house now. Get your ass in here. Yeah, go get in the house now. Move. No heroes, please. Fuck that. Get in the house.
The chance of a missile
Get in the shelter.
here
Get a shit.
is really bad.
Get in the shelter right now. You're a tank driver. We need you. We need tank drivers.
What are the chances I get hit by a missile twice in the same
Yo,
round?
shut the fuck up right now.
No, I got hit with a missile already. What's the point I'll get hit again? Oh, this is fine.
It's literally just glass there.
Shut up.
Alright, head count. מספרי ברזל להתפקד.
Shot at
To calm us down.
Daniel.
I'm pretty sure we should have מספרי ברזל.
Daniel shot.
Full soldiers.
Thank you.
Oh my god. I guess not. Daniel. Shot.
Nothing ever happened.
Shh, guys. Guys,
Smells in here.
I got hit by a missile
Hey,
last
hey.
week. It's not gonna happen again this
They
week.
don't
I've got tape minutes. Quiet.
You have tape
Quiet.
measures?
Did it noon your tits?
Nobody fought.
Yeah, if I fart, they're all dead. Okay.
Oh shit, here we go again. Sunday morning. Back into the shelter. Oh fuck. Oh man, I'm all alone. Okay, well. Better way is pick everything out the door here. Put the light on. Close the dryer door. What the fuck? This is life in Israel right now. And then close the door. And now I just sit here and wait. Oh man. Sound's still going on. Okay, sound's still going. This has got to stop, man.
Thank you all so much for joining me today on A Journey to Milk and Honey. Just a quick reminder to jump onto our website at journeytomilkandhoney.com or jmhpodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Journey to Milk and Honey as well. To find us on all other social media, including YouTube, X, Instagram, and Spotify, you can find us at JMH Podcast. And if you enjoy what we do here at A Journey to Milk and Honey, you can help support us by liking, subscribing, and leaving us comments and reviews wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much again, and shalom.